Greetings, everybody. There are difficult questions and there are difficult questions. And today I've got a question which I'm sure that you have asked yourself. I've certainly asked it of myself. And fortunately, I've found out the answers, and that's what I would like to do today, is to share answers to a difficult question with those of you who choose to listen. The question is, why does a loving God allow suffering? And many people ask, if there is a God of love, why is there so much suffering in the world? It's a question that touches every human being, because of all of us in one way or another, we experience pain, loss, and sorrow. But the Bible gives us clear answers if we are willing to listen. God is not the author of suffering. He is the author of life, peace, and joy. The problem lies not with God, but with the humanity's choice to reject His laws and His way of life. So let's look at two important reasons that help us to understand why there's so much suffering in the world today. The first one, let's cover that, is breaking God's spiritual laws. When God created mankind, He set out a system of laws, His 10 commandments, as a foundation for happy and peaceful living. Those laws define right from wrong and reveal how to live in harmony with God and with one another. Obedience to those laws brings blessings. Disobedience brings sorrow. Very simple. Obey and be happy, peaceful. Disobey and you're going to have problems. But what do we see in the world today? We see those laws being broken willy-nilly every single day. Lying, thieving, adultery, greed, idolatry, even blasphemy. And by idolatry, I mean seeking after wealth as a god and things like that. Blasphemy, all day we hear it. The movies are full of it. Fill our societies. These things fill our societies, from the highest level of government to the simplest homes. Sin is rampant. God's laws were designed for our good, not to restrict us, but to protect us. When they are ignored, the result is confusion, violence, and pain. So one of the great causes of suffering is simply this: mankind has turned away from the laws of God. They have rejected them since the Garden of Eden. So if someone says God's laws are abolished, ask them to lift up their eyes and look around. Now, the second reason is the ignoring of God's physical laws. We've covered the spiritual laws, the 10 commandments. Now let's just cover the physical laws. God not only established spiritual laws, He also created physical laws that govern health and well-being. Among these are the dietary laws found in the Bible, which distinguish between clean and unclean foods. Don't eat bats, cats, rats, and don't eat pigs and prawns. Even before Moses, these laws were known. When Noah entered the ark, he took 2 of every unclean animal, a pair of each, but 7 pairs of the clean animals, those suitable for food. That's in Genesis 7, verse 12. Now, these distinctions have existed since the earliest days of mankind, because I've just quoted Noah, so they were known before Noah. Yet today, very few people pay attention to them. Modern society has largely ignored what God clearly declared to be wholesome and good for human consumption. And what do we see as a result? Rampant disease, sickness, and physical decline. Once again, humanity is suffering the natural consequences of breaking laws designed for His good. So don't eat bats, cats, and rats. And don't eat pigs and prawns. There's a price to pay. So where in the world are the 10 commandments and the physical laws universally obeyed? Where in the world are dietary laws universally applied? Nowhere. Nowhere. Or very few places. Very few places. And the evidence of human suffering is all around us. But, thankfully, God's plan does not end in human pain and rebellion, which is the cause of all this suffering. Human rebellion. The Creator who made this world has a purpose, a plan to redeem and restore all things. But for now, God allows mankind to learn through experience that life apart from His laws leads only to trouble. But soon, and thankfully, Jesus Christ will return. As He ascended up into heaven, so He will return to establish the kingdom of God here on earth, where His laws will be taught and obeyed. They will be obeyed. Then the prophet Jeremiah's words will be fulfilled when he said, I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Jeremiah 31, verse 33. And also the prophet Isaiah describes that wonderful time. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Isaiah 11, verse 9. In that kingdom, nations will no longer learn war. Isn't that amazing? Weapons will be turned into tools for peace and plenty. Micah 4, verse 3. I've seen the statue outside the United Nations building in New York, and they have a massive statue of this process of a man turning a sword into a plowshare. Very impressive, and it's going to happen. Sickness, disease, and sorrow will give way to health, joy, and understanding. The world will finally live as it was meant to live, in harmony with its Creator and with one another. So when we look at the suffering of this present world, let us not blame God. Let's instead recognize the true cause, mankind's rejection of His ways, and look forward with faith to the time when God will heal the world through His Son, Jesus Christ. That is the hope of the gospel, the good news of the return of Jesus Christ, that the loving God who created us will soon bring and come back to bring everlasting peace, joy, and life to all mankind through the establishment of His kingdom here on earth. Good news indeed.